The first time I learned Edna was pregnant made me nervous because I realized that we're entering a whole new aspect of our life, our relationship, the responsibility of me ensuring the financial well-being of a family, how I was going to be as a father. And at that time, we didn't know whether it was a girl or a boy. So that was another thought that kept running through my mind. Not that it would have made any difference, but it's always a question. I think I was actually happy overall, but probably a little nervous of the greater responsibility, because I'd really only been with American Airlines for roughly 2.5 years, and that's not very long to feel that you're locked in on your job and you will always have money coming in.
It was such a shock. I didn't expect to be pregnant without being aware of it, really. And all of the emotions, I mean, all of a sudden you go from being a single entity to being the carrier of another human being. And it's like, oh my goodness. And while you both are excited about it together, I think for a woman it's such a special time, this connection. Like, you know, he can't really be part of it. I don't want to keep crying. And of course then it was like, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to name it? How are we going to afford it? You know, gosh, that means I'll have to quit working. Oh my gosh, is it going to be a boy? Is it going to be a girl? We ended up laughing almost all the way to the hospital, between me going, oh, hurry up. He had one color sock on one foot and a different color sock on the other foot. It took forever to get to the hospital. I remember I had a bow in my hair, and the doctor was very concerned that I maintained that bow throughout the whole time. I was in pretty hard labor, but I didn't know it, never having experienced this. And we got there at 7 in the morning on a Palm Sunday, and I'm put into a room, and Alan finally was allowed to come in. The nurse says, you might as well go get some breakfast. It's going to be hours. He leaves. Next thing I know, I guess that I started to have you in the waiting room, basically, whatever they called it before you go into the birthing room. And I think I probably pretty much had you there. And the next thing I remember was they gave me a shot to calm me down. Well, they knocked me out. And I remember a nurse pushing on my stomach so hard, we have to get the afterbirth out. And I thought, oh, wait, the afterbirth wouldn't come before the baby. And I didn't see you or know anything about you until about 3 in the afternoon. You were born, you know, just about 3 hours later. And they wouldn't believe me. Those stupid nurses.
I was thrilled the first day of Brian's birth. And, of course, the first time I saw him was through the looking glass, or the glass window in the nursery, and was so proud that he was so handsome with all the hair. And women especially standing behind me would say, oh, look at that baby with all that black hair. It looked like he was already 6 months old.
Catherine was a very quiet baby, unlike Brian, because we would go to bed and Pop could feel Brian kicking around and everything, and he was just really active. And Catherine was very quiet, didn't move around a lot. And we were just so happy to be having a second one, a little further apart than we wanted. But, yeah, there was a sense of kind of, well, we're old hands at this. We made all the mistakes with Brian, and he's made it to 3 years old, so I guess it wasn't too hazardous to him. But you feel a little more comfortable together about having another child. Kind of got the first part down, the diapers and the feeding and all of that, and it was done with a little bit more confidence, shall we say. Yeah.
My parents really never had a great deal of conversation with me regarding marriage, other than the fact that you marry for life and you treat your wife with respect and love. My parents were not readily the kind of people who would offer suggestions regarding marriage other than just by example. We never had much formal training. We had no formal training whatsoever. In fact, I don't remember them ever having a sex conversation with me.
My mom and dad, I think, instilled in me by their actions. They always treated each other with respect. I think they showed by their example how to be frugal, which is a fairly good thing to have in a marriage, at least when you're starting out, for sure.
I probably would suggest that they always treat their spouse with respect and love, make them feel secure, help them in a time of need, be their protector, be their companion, be their guardian, be their lover, and just generally be a good person, because that's more important than anything to a successful marriage.
You know, you fall in lust, you fall in love, but you really have to like somebody most of the 24 hours a day. And then you sprinkle on some of the love and the fun and all of that stuff, and you've got an unbeatable combination.
A perfect wife is one who is a good lover, is a good companion, has a personality. Obviously, a good cook is a key ingredient. And someone who's interested in me.
A perfect husband is Alan. He truly is. I could make a fortune off of him if I could hire him out. Every woman I've ever known has said, "You are so lucky." And I am.
I guess I would say it's enjoyment of life together.
We respect each other, we trust each other, and I kind of look up to him. He is so honest and so truthful. You don't find that in a lot of people. The love has deepened, and the commitment has deepened. The joy is there. There are a lot of people that we know that are still together after 40 or 50 years, but they don't really like each other very much anymore. And I really like him. I would still pick him out in a crowded room and just say, yeah, that's a man that interests me.
I think being together 50 years has been easy. I can't remember where I would ever have changed it, and I don't know what the big deal is. It's just living together, loving together, and being together.